Good morning, everyone, and nice to meet you between the holidays. So, the topic of today's lecture is flowers, fruits, and seeds. And this topic is so comprehensive, so that is why we will divide it to two parts, and we will also have two classes on this topic. And flowers are the most important part of the plants, and uh, uh, the flowers develop to the fruits, and then the fruits will develop to the seeds. So this is the common parts of the uh, flower. And flower has sepals and petals. Sepals are usually green and attached to the recept receptacle, and petals are usually bright colors. This one is with the white, but they usually are yellow and red. And sepals and petals protect uh, the reproductive parts of the flower. So the female parts of the floral parts of the flower are, are called uh, carpels, and carpels are usually uh, connected to the several carpels that are connected are called pistils in case of the complex carpels. So the carpels have three parts. Stigma. Stigma is the opening at the top of the carpel. Then style. Style is usually longer than this. Style is the neck of the carpel. And then ovary. Ovary is the place where the ovules are located, and each ovule will produce egg cell. And male reproductive parts are stamens. The stamens consist of the anther and filament. Anther will produce pollen grains, and pollen grains will transfer from the anther to the stigma, sorry, to the carpel of the another female flower. Sorry, another flower. So, and the we will talk about the processes that happen after that later. So, flowering plants include about 390,000 species, and it is the largest, most successful group of plants. And they can reproduce sexually and asexually. Then And most people love flowers for their color, good looking, good look, and odor. And most of the fragrances are made from the flowers. Uh, Usually not one flower, but from the combination of the flowers. Uh, and the most important biological function of the flowers is their sexual reproduction. And uh, the purpose of the flower and the goal of the flower is to transfer a pollen grain from one flower to another flower. So usually it is the flower on another plant. Same species, but not the same plant. And sexual reproduction consists of a fusion of the reproductive cells, eggs and sperm cells. And this, so the eggs are located in ovules, and uh, sperm cells are located in the pollen grains. And together they are called gametes. And gametes combine together and this process is called fertilization. The fertilization occurs in the ovary, and so this ovary, so fertilization occurs here in each uh, ovule. And the offsprings of plants show genetic variation because they gain the features of the parent plants, like the female and male parents. Uh, and During the sexual reproduction, a new combination of genes occur, and these new combinations usually are better than the parent plants and survive in the environment. The survival is more likelihood. And there are also asexual reproduction. So asexual reproduction occurs without flowers, seeds, and fruits, and some vegetative structure can occur from stems, leaves, or roots, and then it's separated from the parent plant, usually by the death of the tissues connecting it, and then independent plant will develop. And because it will develop from only one parent without the fusion of gametes, the offsprings are identical to each other and to the parent plant, so that is why there is no any adaptation, and this is less favorable part of reproduction. So like in the animals and also in the humans, the children better have two parents. So the same is in the plants. So the children usually become better when uh, the, they have both male and female parents. Um, and uh, the flower usually consists of the four parts: sepals, petals, or the carpels, and stamen. So some of them may lack of the petals or sepals, and some uh, and also usually they are arranged in the circle. So uh, and they are connected to a peduncle, that is the beginning of the flower. It's usually connected to the stem. Uh, and and then uh, peduncle, if the peduncle is uh, has several flowers on it, then there is an inflorescence. So there are different parts of inflorescence. Um, so we will get to this later. So the peduncle in, will form a receptacle. So the receptacle will then develop for all four parts of the flowers. Usually they are located in this order: sepals, petals, stamens, carpels. So first sepals, then petals, then stamens, and then carpels. And so you should remember that sepals, petals, stamens, carpels, and the uh, the stamens and carpels are participating in the reproduction directly, while sepals, petals also participate, but indirectly, by attracting insects, and um, they may be present or maybe not. So, and when a flower have all four parts, it's called a complete flower. And incomplete flowers usually don't have something like, some flowers don't have uh, stamens, some flowers don't have uh, carpels. Uh, if the flower has both stamens and carpels, uh, it's uh, it's a perfect flower. And imperfect flowers have stamens or carpels. So like uh, there are one type of the flowers with that are female, so they have carpels, and another type of the flower are male and they only have stamen. So this is an imperfect flower. Uh, uh, and sepals look like a leaf, and they cover and protect flower, especially when the flower develops from the bud, and uh, so and the um, the petals usually are thin and flat, and they are very varied, so they can be different forms, different colors: yellow, red, white, uh, and they attract pollinators. Usually they are colored. Uh, and petals are very important for the fertilization and uh, pollination. Uh, and sometimes they fuse to form a tube like these tubes. Uh, Sometimes they have very different structure, look like snapdragons, and the location of the together the petals are called corolla. Then after the petals we have a stamen, or actually stamens, and the stalk of the stamen is a filament, and we have anther at the top, where the pollen grains form. So the pollen grains should transfer to the anther, uh, and usually it transfers to another flower of the same species. And the pollen grains contain of two cells, and one cell will produce the two male gametes or sperm cells, and the other will produce a pollen tube. So we will look later what it looks like. And in the center of the most flowers, the carpal or carpels are located. So this is usually the central part of the flower, and carpels consist of the ovulus that may or may not develop into seeds, depending if they are fertilized or not. The carpels of may be separate or fused into a single structure, like here, and uh, and if they are fused, like here, there are two carpels, first and second, and they are fused to a single pistil. So if the pistil consists of the one carpel, it's a simple pistil, and if it consists of several carpels that are fused, it's called a compound pistil. Usually the carpels have three structures: stigma, style, and ovary. So usually they look like a bottle. So the stigma is the head of the bottle, then style is the neck, and the ovary is body of the bottle. So the pollen grains will land on the stigma, and the neck is the like structure through which the pollen tube will go. And ovary is a jug-like structure that contains one or more ovules. Here are many ovules, and each of them will develop to the seed, and the ovary will develop to the fruit. Each ovule contains a female gametophyte, also known as an embryo sac, where the one female gamete and two pollen nuclei are developed. So the egg and pollen nuclei participate in fertilization. We will discuss that later. So the the pollination is the first step in development of the seed and fruit, and it should occur before fertilization. So pollination is the travel of the pollens, pollen grains from the anther to the stigma. And some plants are self-pollinated, like this flower can be pollinated itself, like pollen grains can transfer within one flower, or like they can pollinate the flower in the same plant, like different flower or the same plant. So this is called self-pollination. But usually the plants have cross-pollination, which occurs when pollen grain transfers to a flower on another individual plant. Of course, the same species, because the pollen grains will not fit the another species. And there are different ways of the pollination. Uh, uh, and one way is pollination by animals, like this one. Uh, so these are the main types of the animals that pollinate uh, the uh, flowers. They are butterflies, moths, bees, and some uh, bats and birds. And this is the way like the bee will see the flower. So human will see the flower like this. This is a yellow flower, and the color of the petals is the same as the color of the uh, carpals and uh, the uh, pistils and stamens, and bees will see the carpals and stamens like this, because like it's more attractive. And uh, some plants are pollinated by the wind, or by the water. And in many plants species have a mechanism to prevent self-pollination, because it's better to prevent self-pollination. Cross-pollination is better. Uh, in the two gametes, male and female, will so male and female will gather and to form a zygote, that is a fertilized egg, and they may be from the same plant or from the two different plants. And different parents increases the variation, and this variation usually gives a selective advantage, because usually offspring survive better than the parents in the changing environment. Like your parents don't get used to use the computer phones, that is why and you get used to that, and that is why you are better adapted to the modern world, so the same as with the flowers. And usually self-pollination is prevented, uh, and uh, genetical material will be different, and so the self-pollination actually makes inbreeding, and inbreeding is generally undesirable because uh, it increases the concentration of the harmful genes in the children. So like that is why usually animals, especially humans, will not have sex with the uh, family members, because that will, if that will occur, that will make the genetic diseases more likely to develop in the children. And for that reason, uh, the members of the king's families that usually um, try to uh, marry the family members so they keep the power of the king in the family, so don't want to share with other families, so don't want to give power so of the rule to the other families. So that is why the king's families usually had diseases more frequently. So that is why they're called blue blood. So king's blood usually it's called blue blood uh, because of the uh, blood diseases that are uh, spread it inside the king's family, inside the royal family. So okay, so we will stop here and we will continue next week. And thank you for attention. If there are some questions, then please comment on the recording of the lecture, and or the next time when we will continue at the beginning of the lecture. Thank you for your attention. See you next week. The lecture is over. See you next week. Bye bye. Or any questions?
Thank you. Bye bye.
So see you next week, Fatma. And happy holidays. So tomorrow is the Independence Day, the Kazan, and Tatarstan. So uh, we will have a public holiday.